So this is where we transition from whatever I've been given as a topic, from that to a gospel presentation. And I guess it is fitting, since we have in the chat room our good friend Chris Hunholz, that the request is made that I transition from a taser to the gospel. Now, why is that fitting for Brother Chris? Well, I guess it's because he is a police officer who carries a taser, and I continuously try to get him to tase me. Well, actually, I want him to take out the taser and see if I could disarm him fast enough and tase him with his state-issued taser. He's not allowed to carry it outside of the state, and therefore I'm pretty safe because I don't get to Nevada often. But that being said, I have to transition from a taser to the gospel. So here's it goes. And the reason we do this is to train ourselves to learn to transition from the natural to the spiritual. And when we learn to do this, the better we get at doing these transitions, the easier it is to make a gospel conversation out of anything that we have happening. So I'm going to go from a taser to the gospel. And I actually have about two different things in my head right now. So I'll go with the first, the easier one. First one is, the reason that a police officer would carry a taser is because people break the law. It's really quite simple. They break the law, and law enforcement is required with enforcing the law. Now, they don't want to always have to use their sidearm on everybody, so they choose a taser to take down a bad guy, aka criminal, those who break the law, and use the taser to subdue them. Kind of the same way we're supposed to be subdued under the gospel, because every knee will bow and every tongue will confess that Jesus is Lord. Therefore, we should make that on this side of heaven, not the other. Now, that's the easier way that I would transition from a taser, because that one's probably pretty evident, and you guys probably saw that one. But I had a different one in mind as well. If I'm going to transition from a taser to the gospel, I'm thinking more like this. What is a taser? It's something that shoots like lots of electricity through 2 or 3 little probes that shoot out very quickly, lock into you, and basically shut your nervous system down so that you kind of fall over and don't move. It's supposed to be very painful. I've never actually tried, but I do know that I have watched an individual who attempted and succeeded during a training of actually being tasered and not having it affect him too much. In other words, he was fast enough to grab the taser thing, the little hooks that they shoot out, in time to rip them off of his chest within a split second of them hitting him. Because had those things hit him, it would have been too late, and he would have felt the full effect of the electricity going through his body. I have a message that is like that taser. It's sharp, it's painful, it's gonna hurt, but you know what? It's so fast, it's split second, every one of us can face eternity. And the message, even though it's sharp and painful and can hurt, it could save your life. And like a taser is actually saving your life versus using the sidearm, this message of Jesus Christ could save your eternal life. You see, that taser shoots you with lots of electricity, and it's painful. The gospel is painful. Why? Because we disobey God's law and we don't like it. We're enemies of God. And that is the reason why the gospel is painful. The way we know that people really don't believe in atheism is because they find the gospel offensive. It's painful and it hurts because it reveals what they're trying to suppress. And when they react to that, it's evident that they know what they're saying isn't right. And they know the gospel is true. And so that's how I would transition from a taser to the gospel.